Good morning, my beautiful students. My name is Zakaria Obed Pukuwe. Welcome to a lecture of the history of transformation in South African educational system. After this lecture, go to edmodo.com and log in as a student. Use this code QCX7VD. Look at the videos that I've posted on this website and answer the questions. These videos, they will help you to gain more understanding on the history of transformation that took place in educational system of South Africa since 1950 up until 2019. This lecture is divided into three sections. The first section is education under apartheid. The second section is educational system after 1994. And the third section look into the transformation of educational system since 1950 up until 2019. The beautiful nature of history is that it teaches us not to repeat the same mistake. Looking into the first section, we are going to tackle on the laws that contributed towards the establishment of educational system, looking into segregation laws, looking into Bantu Education Act of 1953, and the resistance of black South African organization towards apartheid legislations. For us to get much or deeper understanding on how this educational system came about, we need to summarize important events that took place. As we are just summarizing the important event that took place in history so that we can have a backbone on what happens in the past. We not necessarily tell the history. We just need an understanding on where does all these things come from. So that in the 1652, when white first came in Africa as the Dutch, known as the Dutch, they met with the Khois and the San. And the first battle was based on land and cattle that were owned by the Khoi and the San. And the Dutch won. Then, around 1708, the British also came with the same mentality as the Dutch of colonizing Africa. They found the Dutch had their own institutions such as churches and farms around the Cape Flats. Then they started having their own conflicts and battles whereby it favors the British due to their military force and power as well as the weapons that they were using. Then that forced the Dutch to move out of the Cape in towards inland so that they can search for their own freedom. In their minds, they were aiming that once they can cross what is now known as Orange River, they will get a freedom away from the British. Then they decided to take a 4-year journey. During that journey, they had a conflict whereby they split into 3 groups. The other group went west, the other group went east, while the other one continued north. Those ones who went east, they met with the Gunu people, the Zulu and the Xhosa, then known as the Nguni people. So there were conflicts between the Dutch those who went east, and the Zulus under the King Dingane managed to win a battle that forced the Dutch to regroup so that they can colonize the African indigenous people. During that mission, they managed to win as they were having weapons that are advanced than African indigenous people. Then they captured African indigenous people. They started to divide land and have policies according to their interest. Start to name places, name mountains, etc. Then they come up with a language called Afrikaans. This Afrikaans language was formed here in Africa. After forming the language, then they come up with segregation laws. These segregation laws was used to divide African people so that they cannot stay in large numbers. Their mission is that once they can divide them according to culture and languages, they will be able to defeat them they will be divided into small groups than when they are in large group, all of them all together in one place. And they also put in laws and policies that prevent the mix of culture, such as the provision of marriage